Well, just to make it interesting, Mike and I thought we'd do a presentation together today, which we've actually never done before. So
that's true.
This is another pioneering day for Virgin Galactic. So yeah, I'm George, and it's really great to be here at another ISPCS. It's great to be under the hosting of the amazing Pat Hines, and thank you, Pat, again for bringing this all together, and everybody who's in the state of New Mexico working to bring the future forward. Goes without saying, but we really do appreciate our partnership with the New Mexico Spaceport Authority as well, and Dan and his team are doing great things, and I think the future is very bright. I also want to just make sure to thank our team here in New Mexico, of which there are many now, and Mike will talk about that a little bit this morning. But it's been a long road, but the future is really bright right now. And I come to you before you today with a lot of news about what we're doing and about just the great momentum inside the commercial spaceflight industry. It's just an incredibly exciting moment for all of us. And this year we have a lot to show you and show and tell. And so we're just going to get into it. What we're going to do this morning is Mike's going to give you a bit of an update about our in-state activities, so show you some nice pictures and maybe a little bit of video of the spaceport and updates on our staffing and all that. And then I'll talk to you about a few recent news things that we've had and then chart out a little bit of what the future holds for Galactic and for commercial spaceflight as we look out forward. So with no further ado, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Thanks, George. Yeah, so we've been pretty busy over the summer getting the teams down here to New Mexico, getting the hardware down and getting things ready. So, but one of the very first things I wanted to make sure we pointed out is we have this nice new road we can drive now from Las Cruces up to the spaceport. And we really appreciate the counties of Dona Ana and Sierra and the state for all the work they did to get our staff a little easier place to go. You always could come in through the northern road through TRC, but it's nice having the alternate path. And with all the rains we've been getting lately, side note, my kids thought I moved them from the Mojave Desert to the Las Cruces Desert, but it's rained here almost every day since we've moved. So they're kind of questioning my sincerity there. But anyway, the road still washes out a little bit, so we use that northern road every once in a while. We've got our hangar facility that's been up and running, dedicated back in 2010. But now we're moving in and we're putting stuff there. So the first thing you need in a hangar is an aircraft. So White Knight 2 officially moved down full-time back about 2 months ago in August and is based here with all the crews and all the support staff. We are doing a little bit of work on it while we're here. Actually, one of the things, as a carbon fiber ship, the environment that the ship sees, the humidity, the CO2 concentrations, those things matter. We had that all dialed in Mojave. We want to dial it in here as well. So we've been doing a lot of trial runs and environmental testing on the ship and our various maintenance activities that we would do on White Knight 2. And we've got the crews there. When we flew in, we did a couple passes in the area, but we've been doing a lot of local flights. We'll do a couple more. And then actually we'll go back to Mojave for a little bit. We need to do some testing with the Spaceship, and the White Knight acts as a really good platform for that test. And then she'll come back down here with Spaceship not too long from now. But basically, we've got that aircraft now based here in the hangar with the crews that support it. We've also recently unveiled the rest of the construction work we've been doing to outfit the hangar. And it's a terminal/hangar, right? So it's not only where the crews live and the vehicles live, but it's where the customers will come train. It's where the staff works, obviously, and where friends and family come to watch a space flight. And so this first floor lounge, it kind of represents a little bit of that theme, that it's not just a hangar. You're not just going to sit on a folding chair. You're not just going to get something quick and dirty, right? We want a nice sense of community. And we're going to blend that a little bit. This is also our staff space as well. And so it's really great for mingling the teams, but when the customers are in town getting ready for their flight, they'll have spaces where they're doing dedicated training, but they'll also have a chance to meet the folks, the mechanics working on their ship, the people who take care of the spaceport itself, all that stuff. And we want to drive that sense of community and blending into the training program. We found it pretty overwhelming when we surveyed our future astronauts. They didn't just want the space flight, they wanted the space flight experience. And part of that was being part of a crew, kind of training as you go, learning what all other things factor in. They're strangely looking forward to the weather briefings. I've done enough of those that those aren't something to look forward to. But at least here in New Mexico, as opposed to Florida, those weather briefings should be pretty smooth. So that's good. No more Wayne tanking telecons at 3 a.m. trying to decide what you're going to do 12 hours later in Florida in a thunderstorm. So this is our first floor lounge. It's a great place, like I said, where we can gather up and meet and kind of just really get a good experience for folks. We've also got our mission control facility here. Mission controls around the world all kind of look like computer showrooms. That's no exception here. But we wanted to go with a little bit of Virgin flair to try to highlight a little bit, give it a little snap, and kind of showcase it. So you can see along the back walls a set of glass windows. That's so folks can kind of see what's going on. You're in an isolated bubble when you're executing the mission. You need to be. But you also can kind of let the outside world see a little bit of what you're doing. And you can also just turn around and check the runway right out the window behind you, and you get a good view of the weather patterns. Again, don't need to really interpret from what other people are saying. You just look out the window, and the local weather's right there. We've got a simulator. We moved the simulator down from Mojave. It's installed at Spaceport. The sim talks to mission control so we can do integrated testing. They actually talk back to Mojave so we can do remote operations as well and shared split training. So we've got crews that are able to train in both locations and keep people fresh and current on everything we're doing. So that's a really great feature for us as well. And then George talked about the team. We basically, we had roughly about 40 people here about a year ago. And now we have 125 with another 40 or so coming by the end of the year and some new hires. So we're doing really good on our ramp up. A lot of folks relocated from California to get here, but we're also doing a lot of local hiring. On Monday last week, we had our biggest new hire class of 17 people, and half of those were local New Mexico and Las Cruces hires. And so that's a really great thing that we want to make sure we're feeding back into the community as well. So that's a great uptick from the team. And that was basically it on New Mexico operations. We've been doing a lot of local flights, not necessarily white knight, but we've got training aircraft and support aircraft that have been flying. Great partnerships with NMSA, the folks out at Cherokee at Holloman Air Force Base and White Sands Missile Range, really getting to know the airspace and the controllers, getting to know the operators. All that stuff is really vital. One of the main drivers behind the push that George and I gave the team to come down here over the summer was a chance. Oh, there's the video playing. Yep. A chance to basically exercise all that. And the chance to do it now and gain that experience before we go into commercial service is hugely valuable to an operations team. So yeah, this is basically just a little bit of B-roll footage talking about what I just kind of showed you. So we'll just let that play for a second. I could hum the soundtrack. So no sound for this one. But this was the day that White Knight moved in. So after landing, we had champagne. So, and there may have been a bottle of whiskey or two passed around from our Scottish chief pilot, Dave Mackay. And it's a really gorgeous facility. There's a tour on Friday, I think, for this group. If you've signed up, you get a chance to go see. We'll let you come see a little bit of the lounge area and the hangar facility as well. I think that's the end of it, yeah. So, it's a fantastic building. And again, the architecture of it really kind of blends into the landscape. It's a great place to work. So looking forward to sharing that not only with you all and the public, but our future astronauts as well. And then, George, I'll let you can talk a little bit about what's going on back in Mojave with this.
Okay, sounds great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Indeed.
Thanks.
So I think in the next 10 minutes or so, I'll just give you a quick update on a bunch of different things that are going on with the company. And, I will say that I've been on board as the CEO since 2010, since I came over from NASA. And I think there's never been as much activity with the Virgin Galactic business and the Virgin Galactic program as today. And so it's a tremendously exciting time for everyone involved. This is a picture of the hangar in Mojave right now. You see Unity, our current spaceship, on the left, and then you see our next spaceship that we're building on the right. And we're making some really great progress on that. As you can see, it's now starting to actually resemble a spaceship, which is a key moment in the structural fabrication. But there's also a lot of work going on in the systems inside, and we'll have some more announcements on that over the course of the next week. Of course, one of the big things that happened this year is that we agreed a transaction with IPOA, and while I'm not going to get into the details of that, that is something that's very exciting for the future of the company that could result in the company being the first publicly traded human spaceflight company on the planet, and we continue to expect that that transaction will close in the fourth quarter. Another very exciting announcement from our perspective was the announcement that we did yesterday, our agreement with the Boeing company. And under that agreement, Boeing Horizon X Ventures will invest $20 million in the company to work together to transform global travel technologies. This is important for a lot of reasons. We're going to really do some exciting things together in both looking at both space and commercial space and high-speed mobility. There's a new wind blowing in high-speed mobility, and I think it's a very exciting time. And we look forward to working with the good folks at Boeing and their teams to think through, what are the things that are attractive to the market over the coming years? What are the technologies that could service those markets? And and how can a broader ecosystem be assembled, not just technology, but operators and regulators and everyone? How can we assemble that into something that is a very exciting and compelling and sustainable product offering for the future of the planet? Ultimately, it's about bringing the planet together more closely, and I think that that's something that very much inspires us. And very happy to have some great people from Boeing, including John, here at this conference. Another area that's been very exciting is microgravity science. Obviously, what we call under the broad rubric of space tourism attracts maybe the most attention in our business, but microgravity research and weightless research and all of the activities within that is a very fantastic area that I'm personally very excited about. And while we have over 600 space tourism customers who are waiting to fly, we've also now flown 2 flights for NASA under the Flight Opportunities Program, and we're very grateful for their partnership and look forward to conducting more missions for them. It seems clear that NASA and Congress are committed to building this growing market and this growing area, and it's something that we're interested in growing further with international parties. And to that end, we were just over the moon about our announcement that we did, I think it was last week. In Washington, D.C. with the Italian Air Force, in which we agreed the first government-sponsored human-tended suborbital research flight. And why is that exciting? I mean, let me get into why I think that's exciting. So, and it gets into the future of what's so exciting for this area going forward. In the past, iterative space science has been challenging, right? And what do we mean by iterative space science? So I come from a scientific family, and the normal mode of science is, you think up some experiment, you come up with a hypothesis, and then you build an experiment and you test it, and then you learn from the data whether or not the experiment works the way you think it will or not, and then you're able to rejigger the experiment if you want to learn more, and you conduct it, and you have that iterative nature of science. That has been challenging in the world of space science, particularly human-tended activities. Now, the International Space Station has been a huge boon over the last decade or so as the activities on board ISS has made that more possible. But the challenge with ISS is, of course, it's sort of hard to take things up and down on a frequent basis. There's mass constraints both on the way up and on the way down. And so that has, in the past, been something of a constraint to true iterative space science. What's so exciting about the future of human-tended suborbital research is that researchers will be able to take their experiment, put it on board, fly it up, conduct whatever experiment it is that they're doing, and then come back down, learn from their data for the next few days or the next few weeks or whatever, and then fly it again. And so you can have repeated iterations of space science. And this is going to be truly a new paradigm when it comes to space. Rapid, periodic access to the space environment, bringing it back to Earth, learning, testing, iterating, and then flying again. And that is super exciting. And so the announcement that we had with Italy, with the Italian Air Force, under which they're going to fly 3 researchers, and I think that they've decided one of the researchers is going to be a pilot, and one of them will be a civil researcher, and then maybe one more. They're still thinking about it. Is really a pioneering moment for space history, I think, because that is a pipeline that ultimately could lead to any space agency from around the world buying seats on our vehicle or on other parties' vehicles, and just imagine how much that will open up space and space research to the planet. There are now dozens of national space agencies around the world who are thinking about this, and the ability for them to come and do a reasonably priced experiment and fly one of their own researchers, creating an astronaut, creating a civilian or a government astronaut researcher, is just a tremendously exciting thing. We have over 600 astronauts, future astronauts in our customer group, of which there are about 60 nationalities represented. And that's one of the things that inspires us the most, is the idea that we can really broadly expand the number and type of people who have gone into space. And I think that is what is so exciting for this area here, because when you think about it, my good friend Erica Wagner is here with Blue, and within 200 miles you will have the 2 major suborbital providers operating commercially in just a few months or years, and that is an incredible thing, right? So this whole great glorious planet that we've got, the 2 frequent suborbital players will be flying to space within 200 miles of each other, and that is just an incredible thing. I think it opens up tremendous opportunity for the local institutions, the educational institutions in this state, particularly NMSU and others, as well as as well as all the other educational institutions, not just at the collegiate level, but also at the secondary level. I mean, we're going to be able to pull together research experiments from all over the state, I think, and then people will be bringing their experiments from out of state, to this area, and there's a real possibility for a regional center of excellence, I think, in suborbital research that will lead the world in terms of this science area, and that's going to be exciting because it's going to drive real knowledge for people on planet Earth, real ways of understanding our climate and on how humans interact with weightless environment. There was a great experiment on one of our vehicles that understood how gene expression works in an environment that's shifting between 0G to multiple Gs. So this is the promise of periodic access to space. This is the promise of how reusable space vehicles will change the game, not just for our wonderful future astronauts who are going to experience the wonder and joy of going into space and the perspective shift that they will experience, but also for scientists and technologists and researchers who will be able to bring real data, real knowledge down to planet Earth and get back that data super fast. So we're excited about that future. We're excited about building that future with the community here. We're excited. I had a great chat with the NMSU chancellor. He's such an inspiring figure. He's doing great work. And obviously the former Secretary of the Air Force down at UTEP. I mean, you're going to have a really great area here to drive forward research, which I think is going to inspire the local students. They're going to be able to put experiments on board the vehicle, and once they turn 18, according to Wayne, they'll be able to potentially fly into space themselves. So you could actually have the prospect of undergraduate students flying into space with their own experiments that they've built during their college experience. What an exciting thing. Can you imagine how many more aerospace engineers we'll have if we can do that? So it's just a great moment in time, a very exciting time for our company as we build up all of these different options and business areas, whether it be building out the infrastructure of the spaceport, building the markets that we're building today, and building the team, the people who are going to be doing all the work down here. So we really appreciate the time. We appreciate the partnership with the community here. It's been a long haul, but we are really close now, and I think all the progress, bringing hundreds of people coming here is going to be a wonderful thing. So thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Well, I guess you can see why we think George is a visionary. Thank you for that great talk, Mike. So we've got a number of questions here. I think there was a question about Virgin Galactic being a stakeholder in New Mexico education. I think you fulfilled the answer to that one already. The number one question that everybody seems to have: congratulations on your amazing success. When will the ticket prices fall below $60,000?
Yeah, what I call the SUV barrier.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a few years, to be honest. We anticipate that the price of the tickets will actually go up once we restart selling tickets. What we believe is that we actually underpriced the ticket price a bit in the early years. So I think the ticket price will go up for a bit. But then at some point, obviously, Richard's vision and my vision is to bring that price down so that it is more accessible to more people.
Very good. Well, I have a question, I think, from obviously a native New Mexican, and maybe for Mike. Why can't more of Virgin's development work be done in New Mexico?
So I think in the future we will start that. We're going to do flight tests from here as well, and so that'll really build up our core activities. It's once you've got a center of engineering set up, it's kind of difficult to move that, but we will slowly transform that over time. We're not going to give up on the Mojave facility. All our core R&D, our new research will be out there. That's a fantastic airspace to operate in. The LA area, Antelope Valley is a hotbed of high-speed flight, space flight. New Mexico is as well, so I think you'll see us start to blend a little. But yeah, no, it's definitely possible to do.
Good. Are there any concerns that you have about cybersecurity with Spaceship 2 and White Knight?
I think every company has to be concerned about it, but I think we do a pretty good job of protecting against incursions. So I don't have any particular concerns in that area at this time.
Okay. What demands do you foresee your customers creating for the local economy?
Well, I mean, I think that we're going to be bringing hundreds and eventually thousands of people down here, and they're going to spend roughly a week each, probably, along with their friends and family. So I think it's going to be tremendous. Opportunities for folks who have experiences or shops or other things that are going to be interesting to those folks. I think there's going to be all kinds of opportunities, and we look forward to working with the local community. We've started staffing up our local team, local experience team, and I know that they're already working with several of the folks here in the community.
One of the things we talk about is, what impact are we going to make on the community? And I should say, right, the community makes a big impact on us. The teams have really gotten welcomed to open arms, the hospitality, the friendliness. I mean, this is an amazing state to be based in.
Good. Would you consider sourcing some technical services locally, things like payload processing, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're open to all different kinds of things. We'll have to look at what the right combination of things are. But the idea of a local center of excellence, I think, is very consistent with the idea of doing certain payload processing locally.
Okay, George. Here's a long-term question: do you have any plans for orbital human spaceflight in the future for any of the Virgin companies?
Well, it's definitely something that Richard is excited about. We're pretty focused on starting where we're starting, and we'll see where the future goes. But it's definitely something that Richard is excited about in the long term.
Good. Is Virgin Galactic considering the possibility of expansion to other spaceports? Yeah,
we are. I mean, so as most people know, we've already signed early agreements with Italy as well as the United Arab Emirates. United Arab Emirates was an early investor in the company and remains an important partner for us. I think that is a very exciting future possibility. Obviously, our headquarters is going to stay here, and our operational center will be here in New Mexico. But should the market and other factors encourage us, I think having a spaceport in different continents would be terrific.
great. We keep having a lot of questions about interacting with educational things here in New Mexico. So there are a lot of people here who obviously are interested in that. So this is a pretty good question. How involved do you think the commercial industry should be in training students? And I'm thinking, cooperative education kind of programs, internships.
Yeah.
But you could answer that.
We're a big fan of internships. I mean, we hire a bunch of our interns when we hire interns, we often hire a bunch of them for permanent positions afterwards. And the quality of students going into aerospace right now is just fantastic. Not all of our interns are aerospace engineers, so there are opportunities for other flavors of student as well. But I think I think it's crucial. I think it's really great to show students the reality of how exciting the aerospace industry is right now, and the best way to do that is through cooperative projects like the one you're talking about.
And just, just to shout out to Pat, she helped pioneer an internship with NMSU and us, and we've been funding that now for 2 years, and it's a fantastic pipeline.
Wonderful. Question about how research payloads get on board Spaceship 2. Can you describe that process a little bit?
Mike, you want to do that?
Yeah, sure. So the flights we've flown so far were with NASA's Flight Opportunities Program. So they basically apply through that program and go into the pool. And then our team works with NASA to basically package those up into experiments that would fly for us. And then we integrate, obviously, and execute. The Italian model that we're doing is, again, as a RAC, they're going to do that integration of deciding which payloads they want. We'll work with them to help design those and make sure they meet our safety standards and our requirements for integration. But for now, basically, our main plan is kind of integrated already. The next step is to do that ourselves, right, or with a third-party local team who, can help integrate those payloads. One of the challenges that I kind of jokingly talk about the team, we're used to flying the shuttle with a fair bit of payload space, but not a whole lot. The Spaceship has enough for 30 mid-deck lockers, which is a huge amount, which sounds great until you have to make sure none of them talk to each other and interfere with each other and mess each other up. And so that's a challenge for us, right? So we're taking our time, and the help we got from NASA on that was fantastic.
Good. Is there a place where people can go to find the it says common parameters, but I'm going to interface parameters.
Yeah, we've got a payload user guide, and if you stick around this afternoon, Sarisha Bandala will be up on a panel talking about our payload process and the benefits of microgravity research with Virgin Galactic.
Okay. Can Virgin sponsor a minor in space tourism at New Mexico State?
Sounds cool. Let's talk.
Okay. Let me see. We're running out of time. I have this question. I'll confess I wrote. Beth Moses has flown. Loretta Whitesides will fly soon. How does it feel to help your significant other go into space?
Well, let me answer that because I think we chose Beth based on the fact that she had the most zero gravity time in the company, other than CJ. So she was the right person for the mission, and she did a really great job. I think, one of the fundamental things is that a lot of people who are involved in this program are going to fly on board the vehicle. That's comforting to the astronauts that we have. They want to see that, or they like to see that. And, this is something that we believe in.
Outstanding. Well, thank you very much for outstanding presentation and discussion.
Okay. Thanks.